Okay, so this is what I'm fighting with today. So wanted to replace this bezel. You can see it's cracked up here and just, overall dingy, and this isn't the color we're gonna go with anyways. So keeping the gauges, and then we're just replacing the front bezel here, and also replacing the harness on the back. And I've already got this apart, but I was going to show you how. So essentially, I'm going to be replacing this wiring harness with the Painless harness that comes in the kit. So first thing you need to do on this is take this wiper switch off, and to do that, this little guy right here is going to be sitting right here, and it's because it won't go through that hole as you pull it through, and that takes a little Allen wrench on the bottom. There's a little Allen screw in there, and it looks like it's 5/64. So that's what I used to get that off of there. And then on the back side, need two hands here, sorry. There's several of these screws, and actually I was missing some, so I need to get some more, but they were throughout. And then replaced, or took those off, took the switch off, which was over here, and then that bezel just comes right off, like so. So now I've got that sitting like so. I'm gonna put these new lenses in, because these lenses are, you can see, are just hazy and don't look great. So I'll put those new lenses in, and this is our new bezel that we'll be putting in. I think it looks pretty sweet. Now you might say this is a 67 bezel going in 68, and you're right. That's because they didn't have the brushed look for the 68, and I like the brushed look, and we're gonna go all the way down the dash with it. So that's what we're going with. So rest of mod, I can do what I want. Let's see. So it looks like these little things will transfer over. Not sure why there's cardboard in there. I might need to steal these screws for the new bezels. I didn't see any in there. Otherwise, it looks pretty straightforward. The other thing I've done with this is I replaced the lighting. I put LED lights in here, so those are still in there, so I'm gonna have to transfer those over to the new cluster. So we'll be doing that. So I pulled the screws out of all these, and notice that these are like a two-piece. So I'm gonna take these backing plates off, and I'm gonna transfer them to the new side here. The only other thing I really noticed that we need to do, and yeah, so I'm gonna transfer all that and see how it looks. All right, got all the lenses in. Transferred these. These are basically just to separate the lights. So I transferred these over. So like you have your warning light, your blinker separate right here, and then this is your high beams light. Keeps it separate from and bleeding over into these other spots. There should be one right here. That's why somebody put this cardboard. I think I'm just gonna leave that for right now, because I'm using LEDs, like I said, so it shouldn't bleed through as bad. And then we're just gonna drop that on the back of this, and screw it in. Okay, looking at the gauge cluster. So the main thing on the Painless is that this harness connector is different than these connectors that are stock. So you just want to swap to their harness on the gauge cluster here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just laying it out. Based on the book, this 15-way connector should be right above the fuel gauge, which is these here, these two here. So it should sit like this, and then from there I should be able to kind of, you can see it just sits where it belongs, connect everything to where it's supposed to go. So I'm just gonna work through it. I think what I'll do is I'll take the fuel gauge off, connect that, bring this down, etc. And just as I take this one out, put this one in, and go from there. And I'll work my way from the right to the left, and hopefully I get everything in the right place. Okay, so one quick correction is this is, it was showing a 67, that's the fuel gauge, and it's not on a 68. So the difference between the 68 and the 67 is the location of the temperature and the oil pressure gauge. So this is the temperature, oil pressure, fuel gauge is here on a 68. So if you flip it over, this is going to be our temp, or I'm sorry, our, that was the oil pressure gauge, yeah. And so this is the oil pressure gauge and this is the temperature gauge. So starting on the left side, I'm going to actually start on the left side because that's where the book is taking me. And we're going to do the temperature gauge on the far left, and it says red, white to the left post. So finding red, white to the left post. I'm going to take that off. Alrighty, and slide the red, white on. Get it seated on there pretty good. Pull this one off and kind of pull those out of the way, and then it says black, green to the right post. So there's black, green. I want to keep it as clean as possible, so I'm going to run it alongside this red, white here, and then right there, and get a good contact. There we go. All right, oil pressure gauge and amp meter on the same pod. Well, that's not the case in this one. So let's see. Connect the wire, connect the white, red to the left post of the oil pressure gauge. So oil pressure gauge is over here on ours. And I only see one post here on that side. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Black, green. I'm thinking it's these two here. They're gonna be on this side over here. It makes no sense because it's oil pressure. So we'll go with that. Let's see. Light red to the left post. So we're on left post. Oh, white red, here we go. Get the right one. Okay. Put that snug on there. And black, green. And we'll go. I'm guessing these black greens are probably a, what do you call it, ground, so we can share those pretty much anywhere, I believe. That's why there's several of them. Let's see, so on the amp meter, connect the yellow wire to the left post. Okay, and I'm pretty sure this is your amp meter, so I'm going to double check that. Yep, bottom one is the amp meter. So I'm going to take the yellow wire. That's why those are loose like that, so we can go 67 or 68. And then the PUR wire. That's weird. What does that mean? Purple wire, that's what it would be. PUR, purple. Looking for purple. Okay. Where's purple? So I got a black, green, got a yellow and a red. There's a yellow, but there's a, that's actually yellow, white, so that might not be the right one. Like the yellow wire, so this is yellow, white. I didn't see the white. pull that off there. And this is straight yellow, so we're gonna go with that one on there. And it says purple. Don't see a purple. Okay, so I was reading in the wrong spot. I literally just misread it, and red needed to go over here where I thought it was. So I attached red. I attached your, this is the fuel gauge here, so yellow and purple, I'm sorry, green, black. So, but I went ahead and did the blinker, which was white, blue, and black. And then this is where that purple came in. So red, yellow, and purple go to this brake indicator light. So as I'm replacing these lamps, I have the lamps already in here. I put LEDs in, so I'm replacing those as I go through them. So hang on, let me get to the next one here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so light green, black, and black. Okay. And that's the high beam indicator. So high beam indicator is going to be here, I believe. Let me double check that. I'm looking on my instructions over here. Yeah, high beam is going to be in the center here. So it's this guy here. And pull that out. So it's a little twist on this one, and then it should just come straight out. Maybe. Okay, and then you push these in and twist them and they come out. And light green, black, black. So I'm gonna twist it as I push it in, and it'll find the slots, and then it'll just push in. Oop, losing my spring in there, so I gotta kind of push that in. Let me get something to kind of push that spring back where it belongs. I don't know why it's off like that. There we go, now it's centered. Now I push that in and twist, and it's in there. That's our LED lamp in there. And then these actually just push in. I was mistaken, it doesn't have to twist. So that's the high beam indicator. Remove the voltage regulator mounting nut and install a single black wire with a ring terminal. So, voltage regulator is here. The nut is there. So you can see there's a single wire already connected there. So we're gonna connect that guy right there. So let me grab some tools. All right, this is the harness I'll put on. I also cleaned it up with some zip ties. So had like this pink white wire right here coming across this way. So I tightened it into there, and then, you know, zip tied it. I also tucked it in where it was before, right here between the what is that called? The regulator and the switch there, the wiper switch. And then I did a couple more zip ties, especially over here, just to kind of clean things up. So that's what it looks like on there. And then this is what the gauge cluster looks like with a new bezel and new lenses. So I think it looks really, really good.